Namaste, angels. This will be the weekly general reading for the period of Sunday, April 29th through Saturday, May 5th, aka Cinco De Mayo. Let's jump right in, beginning with a recap of a couple of the things that have transpired over the past week or two. And April 15th will be the first. At 5:21 a.m., Mercury went direct, 4 degrees Aries. What that means is that it is still in its shadow of its RX zone, retrograde zone. However, this week it leaves May 3rd at 5:01 p.m., 16 degrees Aries. Mercury completely leaves the retrograde zone. So we shouldn't have any more. Some of us still feel the effects. Probably, particularly those of us who are ruled by Mercury or have a lot of Mercury in our chart. I'm ruled by Mercury and my Mercury's also in Gemini. It's just OD. So those of us like that, we may have still been, dealing with the effects, and we won't anymore after the 3rd, or we shouldn't. We can't blame it on Mercury retrograde if we still experience these things. Also on the 15th at 9:57 p.m., there was a new moon in Aries. On April 17th, 4:09 a.m., also in Aries, Chiron entered. April 17th, again, 9:47 p.m., Saturn entered retrograde, 9 degrees Capricorn, which it rules. April 19th, at 11:12 p.m., the Sun entered Taurus. April 22nd at 11:26 a.m., Pluto entered retrograde, also in Capricorn, 21 degrees Capricorn. April 24th at 12:40 p.m., Venus entered Gemini, which she rules. She left Taurus, which she also rules. April 29th, so that's to come this week. Sunday, April 29th, the first day for which this reading is, at 8:58 p.m., there will be a full moon, 9 degrees Scorpio. Also this week on May 2nd at 10:27 p.m., Neptune will be biquintile the true node. So these are all things over which we will go. Also on the Christian calendar, on the 29th as well, we have, I thought we had something. Oh, it's the 30th. What am I thinking of? Oh no, it's May. It's May 1st. How could I forget? The Feast of St. Joseph, the Worker. Also, this week on the Christian calendar, on May 3rd, is the feast day of Saints Philip and James, the apostles. There's also something called the Exaltation of the Holy Cross. Additionally, some celebrate the feast day of Philip and James on Friday, the 4th. But we'll go over all these. On the Hebrew calendar, that's what I was thinking about, not the Christian calendar for the 29th. The Hebrew calendar is the feast day of Pesach Sheni. So I will go over what that is. Beginning with, in no particular order, because I'm jumping to May 3rd, Saints Philip and James's story. And I'm going to get that story, not from myself, but from franciscanmedia.org. Saints Philip and James. James, son of Alphaeus. We know nothing of this man except his name, and of course, the fact that Jesus chose him to be one of the 12 pillars of the new Israel, his church. He is not the James of Acts, son of Clopas, quote-unquote brother of Jesus, and later Bishop of Jerusalem, and the traditional author of the letter of James. James, son of Alphaeus, is also known as James the Lesser, to avoid confusing him with James, the son of Zebedee, also an apostle and known as James the Greater. Philip and that James the Greater, would be one of the two sons of thunder, the brothers James and John. Philip came from the same town as Peter and Andrew, Bethsaida in Galilee. Jesus called him directly, whereupon he sought out Nathanael and told him the, quote, one about whom Moses wrote, end quote, which is in John 1:45. Like the other apostles, Philip took a long time coming to realize who Jesus was. On one occasion, when Jesus saw the great multitude following him and wanted to give them food, he asked Philip where they should buy bread for the people to eat. St. John comments, quote, that Jesus said this to test him because he himself knew what he was going to do, end quote. And that can be found in John 6:6. Philip answered, quote, 200 days' wages worth of food would not be enough for each of them to have a little bit, in John 6:7. John's story is not a put down of Philip. It was simply necessary for these men, who were to be the foundation stones of the church, to see the clear distinction between humanity's total helplessness apart from God and the human ability to be a bearer of divine power by God's gift. On another occasion, we can almost hear the exasperation in Jesus' voice. After Thomas had complained that he did not know where Jesus was going, Jesus said, quote, I am the way. If you know me, then you will also know my Father. From now on, you do know him, and you have seen him, end quote. John 14:6-7. Then Philip said, quote, Master, show us the Father, and that will be enough for us, end quote. John 14:8. Enough, Jesus answered, quote, have I been with you for so long a time, and you still do not know me, Philip? Whoever has seen me has seen the Father, end quote. John 14:9. Possibly because Philip bore a Greek name, or because he was thought to be close to Jesus, some Gentile came to him and asked him to introduce them to Jesus. Philip went to Andrew, and Andrew went to Jesus. Jesus' reply in John's gospel is indirect. Jesus says that now his, quote, hour has come, that in a short time he will give his life for Jew and Gentile alike. So rather than see them, he told them basically through Andrew and through that message that they were part of him and part of his movement and what he was doing. Reflection that can be made in this regard is that, as is the case of the other apostles, we see in James and Philip human men who became foundation stones of the church. And we're reminded again that holiness and its consequent apostolate are entirely the gift of God, not a matter of human achieving. All power is God's power, even the power of human freedom to accept his gifts. Quote, you will be clothed with power from on high, end quote. Jesus told Philip and the others. Their first commission had been to expel unclean spirits, heal diseases, announce the kingdom. They learned gradually that these externals were sacraments of an even greater miracle inside their persons, the divine power to love like God. So there it is, was made clear. If you read the Gospels a million times and it never clicked, Jesus taught other beings and God anointed other beings with some of the gifts that Jesus had. Now, I would say certainly not at the same vibration, particularly based on what I know through my channeling, that Jesus was of a vibration that fluctuated between 8 and 10. So even if we're talking about being increased to 5D, that's not like Jesus, but it empowered them to be able to do some of the things that he could do. And this is the same thing that is to happen now with other people. So it should not be so difficult to understand or to believe. Moving on. St. Joseph the Worker, also from Franciscan Media. to foster deep devotion to St. Joseph among Catholics and other Christians, and in response to the, quote, May Day celebrations for workers sponsored by the communists, Pope Pius XII instituted the Feast of St. Joseph the Worker in 1955. The feast extends the long relationship between Joseph and the cause of workers, both in the Catholic and other Christian faiths and devotion. Beginning in the book of Genesis, the dignity of human work has long been celebrated as a participation in the creative work of God. By work, humankind both fulfills the command found in Genesis to care for the earth, Genesis 2:15, and to be productive in their labors. St. Joseph, the carpenter and the foster father of Jesus, is but one example of the holiness of human labor. Jesus, too, was a carpenter. He learned the trade from St. Joseph and spent his early adult years working side by side in Joseph's carpentry shop before leaving to pursue his ministry as a preacher and healer. In his Laborum Exercens, so it's a writing, Pope John Paul II stated, "The Church considers it her task always to call attention to the dignity and rights of those who work, to condemn situations in which that dignity and those rights are violated, and to help to guide social changes so that to ensure authentic progress by man and society." End quote. St. Joseph is held up as a model of such work. Pius XII emphasized this when he said, quote, "The Spirit flows to you and to all men from the heart of the God-man, Savior of the world. But certainly no worker was ever more completely and profoundly penetrated by it than the foster father of Jesus, who lived with him in closest intimacy and community of family life and work." Reflection. To capture the devotion of St. Joseph within the Christian liturgy, in 1870, Pope Pius IX declared St. Joseph the patron of the Universal Church. In 1955, Pope Pius XII added the feast of St. Joseph the Worker, the silent saint who was given the noble task of caring and watching over the Virgin Mary and Jesus, now cares for and watches over the Church and models for all the dignity of human work. Pesach Sheni, April 29th, Sunday, April 29th. From www.shabbat.org. This is called the Second Passover also. And as is this article I'm about to read, it's named the Second Passover. 30 days ago, we cleaned our homes and our souls of leaven. And we matzah'd our way through the week-long festival of Passover. And now, Pesach Sheni, a second Passover. It is customary to mark this day by eating matzah. If possible, you should do this and also omit, not emit. Emit means to let something out, like a omit, as in leave out, takanan from the prayer services. How did this come about, Pesach Sheni? A year after Exodus, God instructed the people of Israel to bring the Passover offering on the afternoon of the 14th of Nisan, and to eat it that evening, roasted over the fire together with matzah and bitter herbs, as they had done the previous year just before they left Egypt. Quote, "There were, however, certain persons who had become ritually impure through contact with a dead body, and could not, therefore, prepare the Passover offering on that day. They approached Moses and Aaron, and they said, 'Why should we be deprived and not be able to present God's offering in its time amongst the children of Israel?'" End quote. Numbers 9:6-7. In response to their plea, God established the 14th of Iyar. I said liar because yesterday there was a picture of posted of Liar Cohen and Kanye and another gentleman who I didn't recognize doing some weird things. So when I looked at the word liar came out, just to explain what that was about. In response to their plea, God established the 14th of Iyar as a second Passover, or Pesach Sheni, for anyone who was unable to bring the offering on its appointed time in the previous month. So they gave them like a month to cleanse themselves. What does Pesach Sheni mean? The day represents the, quote, second chance achieved, and it is the power of repentance and a, quote unquote, return. In the words of Rabbi Yosef Yitzhak of Lubavitch, quote, the second Passover means that it is never a lost case. Like we can always make amends and cleanse ourselves and begin again. What else did I say was going on during this period? Cinco de Mayo. Cinco de Mayo from www.history.com. Cinco de Mayo, or the 5th of May, is a holiday that celebrates the date of the Mexican Army's 1862 victory over France at the Battle of Puebla during the Franco-Mexican War. Cinco de Mayo 2018 occurs on Saturday, May 5th, a relatively minor holiday in Mexico. In the United States, Cinco de Mayo has evolved into a commemoration of Mexican culture and heritage, particularly in areas with large Mexican American populations. So to be clear, it doesn't say this here, but to be clear, Cinco de Mayo is not Mexican Independence Day. That's why they're saying that it's largely celebrated here, but not so much necessarily in Mexico. In 1861, Benito Juarez, a lawyer and a member of the indigenous Zapotec tribe, was elected president of Mexico. At the time, the country was in a financial ruin after years of internal strife, and the new president was forced to default on debt payments to European governments. In response, France, Britain, and Spain sent several naval forces to Veracruz in Mexico, demanding repayment. Britain and Spain negotiated with Mexico and withdrew their forces. France, however, ruled by Napoleon III, decided to use the opportunity to carve an empire out of Mexican territory. Late in 1861, a well-armed French fleet stormed Veracruz, landing a large force of troops and driving President Juarez and his government into retreat. Certain that success would come swiftly, 6,000 French troops under General Charles Latreille set out to attack Puebla de Los Angeles. This is funny. A small town in east central Mexico. From his new headquarters in the north, Juarez rounded up a ragtag force of 2,000 loyal men, and many of them either indigenous Mexicans or of mixed ancestry, and he sent them all to Puebla. The vastly outnumbered and poorly supplied Mexicans, led by Texas-born General Ignacio Zaragoza, fortified the town and prepared for the French assault. On May 5th, 1862, Lorenz gathered his army, supported by heavy artillery, before the city of Puebla and led an assault. The battle lasted from daybreak to early evening, and when the French finally retreated, they had lost nearly 500 soldiers. Fewer than 100 Mexicans had been killed in the clash. Although not a major strategic win in the overall war against the French, Zaragoza's success at the Battle of Puebla on May 5th represented a great symbolic victory for the Mexican government and bolstered the resistance movement. In 1867, which is 11/11, 13 or 4, 11/11, thanks in part to military support and political pressure from the United States, which was finally in a position to aid its besieged neighbor after the end of the Civil War, France finally withdrew. The same year, Austrian Archduke Ferdinand Maximilian, who had been installed as Emperor of Mexico in 1864 by Napoleon, was captured and executed by Juarez's forces. Puebla de Los Angeles was renamed for General Zaragoza, who died of typhoid fever after his historic triumph there. And the rest goes on to talk about how it's celebrated in Mexico and how it's celebrated here. And, oh, okay, confusion with Mexican Independence Day, to verify what I said. Many people outside Mexico mistakenly believe that Cinco de Mayo is a celebration of Mexican independence, which was declared more than 50 years before the Battle of Puebla. Independence Day in Mexico, Dia de la Independencia, is commemorated on September 16th, the anniversary of the revolutionary priest Miguel Hidalgo y Castillo's famous quote, Grito de Dolores, or Cry of Dolores, a call to arms that amounted to declaration of war against the Spanish colonial government in the year 1810. Did I do everything? May Day. Wikipedia.org. May Day is a public holiday. This is May 1st, usually celebrated on May 1st. It's an ancient Northern Hemisphere spring festival and traditionally a spring holiday in many cultures. Dances, singing, and cake are usually part of the festivities. In the late 19th century, May Day was chosen as the date for International Workers' Day by socialists and communists of the Second International to commemorate the Haymarket Affair in Chicago. International Workers' Day may also be referred to as quote unquote May Day, but is a different celebration from the traditional May Day. And of course, you can go on to read more about that if you like. All right, the rest I guess is on me. It's the moon and what I think about it. Well, let's see how long I've been going. 21 minutes. All right, quickly. Basically, I feel like anything we started after April 15th was, again, the day that Mercury went direct. So that has a lot to do with it. But also was the day of the Aries new moon. So it was a time where we began a lot of new projects and relationships and all that kind of stuff. Those things should survive. I mean, I think we can expect them to survive. And anything that we set in motion that we did not complete, it's time for it to come, to finish its transformation. That's what Scorpio is all about, right? Transformation, death, rebirth. Right before I started this reading, I just wrote down a whole bunch of stuff of which I wanted to finish letting go in accordance with, the universe's will, God's will, and some of my own preferences. I let the universe know what I would like to not have return to my life, if that's okay. And I wrote these things down, and I doused them with frankincense oil and set them afire. So as I began this reading, I had a blaze burning back there, and it smelled very nice in here. So that's what this period is about: releasing, finishing, completing the work that we started, within the past few weeks, and having an expectation that anything that we began, again, including relationships, friendships, maybe a work relationship, new job, romantic situation, after the 15th of after the 15th, when Mercury went direct, should survive. And if, something is from prior and doesn't, then that may be also an explanation as to why. And this will be the culmination of those things, of which we already let go or have already begun to leave us, transforming as well, and completing their transition out of our lives for good. All right, on that note, I'm going to go to the dice. And speaking of partnerships, I'm beginning with 29. Email and romantic dinner. I'll go more into detail about the moon when I do the moon reading. That's what I was sitting there thinking about for a second. Spirit says eat cake. Dirty movie. And try again. it's 50-50. And this week, I feel that it really is 50-50, like as in things can go either way. On that note, I'm going to begin with the Animal Tarot and Major Arcana card number 12, Awakening, or the Hanged Man. Look at things in a different way and all will make sense. Don't worry about your progress being halted, temporarily. Things will soon get moving again, right? So you're going to want to take advantage of the opportunity is basically what it says. I always tell people when the hangman shows up, it's important to be honest with you. So like I said, I wrote down things that I wanted to let go of. Being honest with me. I don't want to revisit this. Or being honest with me, I would like this thing to come around again, even if it has to be different. If it has, having transformed from a caterpillar and a butterfly, I'd like to have some sort of relationship, with Sally from work. Maybe we don't have to be friends anymore, but I'd still like to work with her. Maybe I don't want to work with her anymore, but I'd still like to be friends or associates, or I think that we can help each other in some kind of way. Like that thing. That's what I wrote down. And that's what the hangman is about, as far as I'm concerned. Being honest with you about what you want so that when things do pick up, you can begin to implement them. Hangman represents the planet Neptune and the sign of Pisces, which it rules for me. Opening to the Empress, which represents the planet Venus for me, as well as the goddess Venus, ruler of Libra, which today, the day on which I'm doing this reading, there's actually a Libra moon. It's Thursday. Libra, Taurus, and Gemini. Time to hop into action. Use your natural creativity to bring forth prosperity and success in your life. This is about new beginnings and taking action and being like a willing participant, an energized, activated, willing participant in your own life. Not just like allowing things to happen to you or figuring like they have to happen, so you'll just go with the flow. No, this is really like engaging. Also, these are both threes and may have something to do with some sort of party of three. Not necessarily a love triangle, but can be. Again, also as far as zodiac, Pisces, Libra, Taurus, Gemini. The Empress. And this card also represents Taurus, Libra, and Gemini for me, and the planet Venus, planet and goddess Venus. Your success and prosperity have allowed you to pay off debts, acquire wise loans, and to receive a grant or scholarship. In return for heaven's blessings, be sure to share the wealth with others through donations of time or money to reputable charities. This card is about unconditional love and the exchange of love and the necessity of it to pass both ways without agenda. That's what unconditional love means anyway. Without agenda. I'm giving to you, whether you're a stranger and it's charity or you're somebody who I know and love in a more personal way. I'm giving to you because I want to give to you, not because I want, for example, a relationship in a particular way with Sally. I don't want Sally necessarily to, I want to exchange with her because I want to exchange with her because it's the loving and caring thing to do. I have something that can help her. I don't necessarily want anything back from her. Sally doesn't exist, by the way. I don't know why Sally came up. I don't even know a Sally. That's just the name that popped into my head. Empress. And the Three of Autumn. Your most satisfying and profitable career or relationship comes from following your passions, listening to your heart, and doing what brings you joy. Your life purpose is best fulfilled by allowing your talents and true self to shine forth out into the world. So again, you have to be honest with you about what it is or who it is you want. This is another three, by the way. So this is our third three. We began with the Hangman and then the Empress and now the Three of Autumn. Three of Autumn, in addition to being a three and possibly being about a party of three or a love triangle or something, is also about abundance that is earned. The Empress is about abundance as well. The Empress is about many things. It's about all that Venus represents. So abundance, love, popularity, beauty, creativity, new starts, pregnancy, both literal and metaphoric. It's a good time, a good week if you've been trying to get pregnant to try again, right? You can become abundant with a bundle this week. Empress and the Sun. Now, opposite this, and on the heels of what I was just talking about, somebody could be giving birth, or to maybe a boy specifically, or becoming pregnant with a son this week. Or, just as it relates to the Sun, if there's some other kind of medical issue or something, it will be fine. Your plans will work out well, bringing you happiness, prosperity, and success. You'll garner the recognition for your accomplishments that you so richly deserve. Major Arcana card, the Sun, represents the sign of Sagittarius in the tarot. We progress from the Three of Autumn to the Four of Autumn. Be cautious about living a life of extremes or seeing things in black and white terms. Consider, for example, whether you're spending too much versus hoarding your wealth, or giving too much emotionally versus building up walls that keep people out. And after some shuffling, the overall energy is yet again the Four of Autumn. Oh, there's two there. I'm going to leave it like that. Counting the masculine this week is the Two of Autumn. You may be under stress because of multiple jobs or too many responsibilities for one person to manage. It's important to balance your work and your personal life and to bring a spirit of fun to all that you do. The Two of Autumn can be about having to make a decision as well. And yes, it can absolutely be about balancing, and the fact that like all work and no play makes Jack a very dull boy. So you want to avoid that. However, for me, it's also about deja vu from hell. And it very specifically reminds me of Rihanna's song, Take a Bow, where she's like, this looks like a rerun. Ooh, what else is on? Like, I don't want to deal with this same situation again. But there may have been some of our masculines who have like repeated the same pattern or mistake or, just really annoying shit that they do, behavior that we've talked about. We've been through this. We know it causes problems. I know, like, why are you doing this again? Just take a bow. Congratulate yourself, for what you've done, because all you did was cause a rift. I actually posted something like that on my Facebook this week. When you have managed when she's no longer concerned with your well-being, congratulations. You've successfully managed to push her away. And it's because of like the repeated patterns over and over. So that is coming through very strong right now. Masculine is surrounded by a Two of Winter, or the Two of Winter. So we got two twos already. Definitely has something to do with some sort of relationship and or with having faith in himself or somebody else or both. Procrastination and worrying about what others will think is blocking you from making a decision. If you're torn between your own desires and someone else's, follow your inner guidance. And here is how his decision is supposed to go. It is Major Arcana card, Justice, also a representation of Venus and the sign of Libra, which she rules. And there's two scales here. They need to be balanced, right? Things need to be fair, equitable. I cannot keep draining you, taking from you, bringing you to this same spot energetically and maybe even physically, wearing you out. It's not right. It's not just. So I need to do the right thing and maybe make the decision, a decision that is right for me, best as it can be for all involved. Crowning the feminine, the Hermit, Major Arcana card, the Hermit, which represents the sign of Virgo. Take time for contemplation, to retreat and to go within. Be a beacon for others on their path to spiritual enlightenment. So this is about coming into enlightenment yourself. And if there are ways that you can help others to become enlightened, doing that as well. As it relates to a decision, since it's mirroring justice, that you're either receiving or making, you're guided to first go within. And again, decide for real what you want, not what others may be telling you to do, what others may think. Worrying about what others may think is blocking you from making a decision. Because you're obviously compelled at this point to do what they would have you do, rather than to do what's in your heart to do, like the Three of Earth suggests. And the Three of Earth, like I said, it's about abundance that's earned. You earn that abundance by having completed the job, the task of doing the right thing, the just thing. Feminine surrounded by conflict. Five of Spring. Occasionally, you may experience clashes with others. If you decide the matter is worth your energy, then do what you can to minimize the conflict without sacrificing your goals. You know what that also means? You might decide it's not worth your energy and just walk away from it. To the more positive, this can be about taking action, especially since it's here mirroring the Two of Winter. The Two of Winter is about the need for action, a decision or something, but no one's taking it. We're just like hoping the problem will go away if we ignore it. So this can be about taking action, in giving a decision, in making a decision, in going within to determine what your true feelings are. Feminine subconscious. The Three of Spring. This is our fourth three. Stop to take time to review and to make long-term plans, capitalizing upon your past successes. It's appropriate to pat yourself on the back, take a bow, for all your accomplishments. But you may also need patience for the rest of what's going to happen and the next phase of the situation to play out. While you're in that limbo, that air of suspension that the Hangman provides, perfect time to go within. While you're there being patient, work on something. We don't have to waste time being idle. We can take action instead. Crowning. That's another two. I told you it was about relationships, partnerships, spiritual partnership nonetheless. You're falling in love or experiencing a deepening of emotion in your current relationship. Marriages or romantic partnerships in distress can still be saved, even if there is a conflict in a relationship, be it a marriage, some other sort of romantic relationship, a friendship, you and Sally, it can still be saved. Go within, decide what you want for real. Go within, decide what you want for real. Make a decision, do the right thing based on your heart, your feelings, not somebody else's, not being concerned or afraid of what others might think or say. Maybe you and Sally are of different religious backgrounds or ideologies or ages, races. These are the things you're not to worry about as it relates to other people. Does it bother you? Bothers you? That's a different story. Then you do what's right and you release this person. Because all you're going to do is continue to bring conflict and strife to their life. But if it doesn't bother you, and not only does it not bother you, but you're drawn to it, it's what makes your soul set afire, ablaze, like my love notes to the universe, then you go for it. At the root, the Tower. Life experience in this deck. Major Arcana card number 16. Important changes are coming into your life that will require you to take action. What did I just say about the Two of Winter? It's non-action. What did I say about the Five of Spring? It's action. Don't hesitate to move in new directions that you know are right for you. At the heart of the matter, we have two cards. It's the Six of Autumn. Your success and prosperity have allowed you to pay off debts, acquire wise loans, receive a grant or a scholarship. Okay, as it relates to romantic relationships, it is about being able to both give and receive love in balance. And for love to be able to pass in both ways, pass both ways in a very harmonious flow that is best and healthiest for everyone involved. That's the Six of Autumn. How do we get the Six of Autumn? What did I say about it? I said it was abundance earned opposite that Three of Earth. The Eight, similar to the Three, is about being rewarded for the work that we do. You put the work into this kind of healthy relationship. You take action where action is meant to be taken, including going within. If that's the action, then that's what you do. Making a decision instead of, just avoiding the situation, like the Four of Earth, closing yourself up, building a wall, or giving too much of yourself where that doesn't make sense either. Balance, doing the right thing. That's the work. And then you get rewarded. It's the perfect time to learn all you can by returning to school, taking a seminar, or conducting research. Do your best work. And the law of attraction will bring you prosperity and career advancement and perhaps a very loving relationship, a healthy partnership, even of a general nature, friendship, work. The Eight of Autumn and the schooling, the education that they talk about, at least as far as I'm concerned, does not have to be going to a physical building and learning a vocation. It can be. For some of us, that will be what this is about, a decision. Do I go to school? Maybe I go to the same school as my friend. We into partnership there. Or we take a class together somewhere. We go into the same line of work or vocation. Yeah. Or we learn from our mistakes, from repeating the behavior. We learn to find balance, learn to end conflicts in a healthy way by allowing love to pass both ways, whether we're friends or not, because something goes down that causes a rift and a shakeup in our relationship. Yeah, it can be that. But aside from an actual vocation, place where somebody's physically teaching you, hermit can be a teacher or something. Sometimes a hermit is a lawyer. It can be a conflict in court, family court or something, but we can still, again, heal the relationship. Maybe we go to mediation instead of actually getting divorced. It can be the school of hard knocks, the school of experience, right? There's a saying, experience is the best teacher. So that can absolutely be what this Eight of Autumn is. By doing the work and learning these experiences, you are paid off, and that you're paid handsomely. Your success allows you to pay off debts. It could be karmic debts. Money comes in for you that you don't have to repay. Or we can say love comes in for you. Abundance comes in for you that you don't have to repay. It's free of strings and agenda. It is unconditional. That's the result of the work. I'm going to further clarify these with the Angel Tarot. I had forgotten about this. Beginning with Justice, Major Arcana card Justice, which is here in the masculine subconscious from the other deck. Fair and just decisions. Do what you know is right. Stand up for your beliefs. This is very karmic, right? 8s are about karma. So if you don't do what you know is right, this also may be, involve a Libra or other air sign that's particularly impactful this week. Opening to the Six of Water, memories from your history or childhood, issues regarding children, romanticizing the past. So general reading, it absolutely can have something to do with a relationship with children, or I talked about family court, maybe divorce. That can be an issue that involves the children. It can be your own childhood, something that you went through that you haven't let go of, or somebody that you met, somebody that returned to your life this week, maybe because of the retrogrades. There are 3 planets in retrograde: Saturn, Pluto, Jupiter. Right? Both Saturn and Pluto retrograde in Capricorn, which Saturn rules, and Jupiter retrograde in Scorpio. Those could be, I talked last week's general, what it means for each planet, respectively, to be in retrograde, like what they rule. The Six of Water, also a soulmate card. So it can be somebody, again, returning to your life for you to decide, if a relationship is going to be repaired. Maybe that's what this decision is about, and move forward, or if it's not. And even if it's not, that's not necessarily reason to not have a different kind of relationship, for the relationship to transform. Okay, we're not going to continue dating. We can be friends. Or we're not going to continue to be friends, but we still have this work relationship or whatever, some sort of connection. Justice. And opening to the Ten of Water, a contented and rewarding family life. Your emotional and material needs are met, and you have trustworthy relationships. Ten of Water. The Page of Fire, who is outgoing, creative, confident, and mischievous. News of an exciting new endeavor. Use your originality and ingenuity when you receive this news. Pages bring news. Pages tend to be the more youthful of these zodiacs for me. So the Page of Fire would be a Sagittarius, more than likely, as far as I'm concerned. But can also, of course, be a Leo, an Aries, even a Scorpio. And in those cases, maybe it's one that's younger than you, or you're considerably younger than them. Like I talked about the differences. The page can reflect youth too. Ten of Water. And the Dreamer with Archangel Metatron. A leap of faith. Follow your dreams. That leads to unexpected opportunities. The Dreamer in this deck, for me, represents the planet Mercury, and therefore Gemini and Virgo, which Mercury rules. The Dreamer is the Fool in the traditional tarot. All about taking a leap of faith on a brand new path, something we never walked before. So even if it's like a familiar path, it has transformed, it has transitioned, maybe with the energy of the Scorpio moon. Speaking of the Scorpio moon, it's the Queen of Water, who is tenderhearted, empathetic, patient, and loving. And the way the tarot is, traditional practitioners of the tarot would say, is very likely a Scorpio as a fixed sign. The fixed signs, the queens tend to be the fixed signs. So that would be Scorpio of the water element. But of course, this can also be Pisces, Cancer, anybody likened to those traits or attributes. So these traits or attributes: tenderhearted, empathetic, patient, loving. Relationships develop to a new level. Trust your intuition. Care for yourself and others. So be thoughtful, kind, compassionate in your movements. Nurturing. you know, again, toward other people and toward yourself. Maybe first and foremost toward yourself and then toward other people. That would certainly help you to make just decisions and or to decide whether or not to, you know, confront conflict or walk away from it. Dreamer, in the cut. Look what it is. Two of air. Two of air. Being unable or unwilling to make a decision. A stalemate. Pretending there's no problem. Complete inaction. The overall energy is the Two of Fire. You've come into your own. New partnerships or contracts. Continue to move forward. Atop the Two of Autumn, a desire to move on. So maybe to move on from conflict, to move on from imbalance, to move on from behaviors that are keeping me stuck, that I keep repeating, or to move on from a situation, a relationship. The search for something more meaningful. I need enlightenment. Spiritual and emotional growth. Atop the Two of Air. It's the King of Air. Brilliant, impartial, professional, and diplomatic is he. He may be a Libra, like this Justice card, a Gemini, an Aquarius, or someone likened to those terms and attributes, those traits or attributes. He may even be some sort of officiate, a judge, a lawyer, right? This can be actual legality. Maybe we want to move on from our troubles. We keep finding ourselves, the twos for, in that case, are about faith rather than relationship maybe. Or they're about our relationship with ourselves. We want to move on from this difficulty and these, again, mistakes we keep repeating. Maybe we keep landing ourselves in jail or court. Here on the side of the masculine. The King of Air is brilliant, impartial, professional, and diplomatic. Speak your mind with confidence. Seek out professional advice if you need. Also balance mental and emotional considerations. So that means like think logically and again from your heart. What do you want to do? What do you know to be the right thing to do? Atop justice. Victory for those of you who do have some sort of legal situation or something. Or trouble, or whatever the situation is. The Ace of Air is about victory. It's about cutting away something that doesn't serve too. So if there's a decision about some sort of relationship, again, whatever kind it is, you may be deciding to cut somebody away. And that could be the victory, right? Or cut a behavior away, cut a situation away, cut those mistakes that we kept repeating away, cut this habit out. Atop the Hermit is the Four of Water, missing an opportunity, discontentment or boredom. Open your eyes to the possibilities. You definitely need to open your eyes if you're going to be enlightened. And again, that's what the Hermit is about. There's some sort of information that is trying to come to you and you're not paying attention. Because remember, you're not seeking it. You're not going within. You're asking, you shall receive. You're not asking. So that's the task of the feminine. Feminine is surrounded by, atop this Five of Spring in this conflict, There's another 2, renewal or judgment in the tarot, which represents the sign of Scorpio for me, and the planet Pluto, which rules it, which again is retrograde currently in Saturn. Review and evaluate. A favorable assessment of the facts. It's time to move in a new direction. So we want to move on from this energy. Again, are you going to walk away from the conflict, or are you going to address the conflict? With renewal, as it relates to earnings, promotion, whether it be from on high or down here, as above, so below, anyway. It's again about abundance earned, similar to the 3 of Earth that we saw a couple of times. As in a regular sense, it's about, you know, being judgmental or avoiding being judgmental of oneself or other people. And as it relates to relationships of any kind, so maybe some sort of conflict with someone, it's about having come to a crossroad and needing to decide, where do we go from here, if anywhere. Maybe this is the end of the road for us, like, you know, we talked about. That's okay. Or maybe we can fix this. In the feminine subconscious, the 6 of water. So this person may be somebody from your childhood, could be one of your siblings, because 5s, or the 5 particularly of wands or fire for me, is not only conflict, but conflict with our closest friends and or family members. So they can be like our siblings or somebody that we know from childhood, or again, a soulmate, a romantic relationship, or a really close platonic friendship. We have the opportunity to fix it. This 6 of water sits here atop the 3 of spring, which is also about abundance and about recognizing the good work and the hard work that we have put into something. We have it here crossing the 8 of Earth, which is about work, again, putting the work in. So to the positive, this can be about, okay, now that we've put the work in, now we're patient, we wait. We wait for that 4th stake to come along, you know, so we upgrade to the 4 of wands, but we're well on our way. Crowning. Atop the 2 of summer, the 10 of fire. Too much work. Accept help from others. Remember I talked about it's 50-50 in the beginning with the dice, and I said I think it's really just about it being 50-50 this week. This is 50-50. Accept help from others. Life is out of balance. That leads to stress-related health concerns. And we have this sitting here next to the 2 of earth, which again can be about balance being off, the need for balance. But there was imbalance maybe in a relationship. One was giving way too much, the other not giving enough. One maybe putting up a wall, the other wide open, like neither is healthy. So this is about an end to that and things getting better. But in the meantime, it could have been stressful, causing you to want to walk away from it. I can't even deal with this. It could have caused you to miss what's really there and what's most important. I'm losing my friend or my mate or whatever it is. At the root, atop the tower. Ouch. 3 of air. Great sadness. Take time to heal. There's a need to forgive yourself and others. Some of these relationships I don't really feel many failing ultimately, but some of these relationships, what went on between them was pretty like devastating and hurtful, you know. So just think of a close friend from childhood that you've been friends 20 years, 30 years, 10 years even. Then all of a sudden something abruptly happens to end that. That's the hurt. That's the pain. So it'll be about moving forward past that, getting beyond it. We'll have to put the work in to get beyond it. Maybe that's where the 6 and the 8 of earth come in this regard. For some, of course, this is the end of the road for people. I just talked about, you know, where do we go from here, if anywhere? For some people, we go nowhere. That's the end. And so maybe that's why and that was the right thing to do. That was the best thing to do. And maybe it was unexpected. Maybe it was sudden. But it needed to happen. The heart of the matter, atop the 8 and 6 of earth. The sun. All's well that ends well. Happy outcome. Brilliant new ideas that lead to success. If we have confidence in ourselves. We have success, crossing success or crossing victory, right? I said that the Ace of Air is about victory. That the justice showing up here was good news for the masculine. So now we're getting a third confirmation of that. If we have confidence in ourselves and put the work in. Even where pain and hurt was caused, it can be fixed. We can restore relationships, even marriages on the verge of divorce. But we got to put the work in. That's this week's theme. So we can end in this. For my abundance oracle, I actually almost began again with partnerships as I did last week today. And I decided to shuffle one more time opposite this card, Bountiful Nature. As soon as I saw it, I said, the partnerships are definitely blessed by Venus. This is her. And then I shuffled again, and then this one ended up on top, and I stopped there. Spending time in nature helps to shift you to a higher vibration. It reminds you of God's infinite abundance. Go outside and enjoy a walk or a hike with your pet. Meditate beneath a tree, a garden, sit under the stars, or do some other activity to connect with the limitless vastness, right, that is the universe. Opening to quiet retreat. So very similar, like you need to get off by yourself, hermit. It's time to disconnect from the outer world so that you can discern and process your true thoughts and feelings from your inner world. Create this quiet time for yourself, and you'll have more clarity about what to do next. Quiet retreat. Gratitude list. This is kind of like the note that I wrote to the universe. Counting your blessings and feeling gratitude for what you already have helps you to be centered in your heart instead of fixated on worries in your mind. What and who are you grateful for right now? Keep focusing upon gratitude, and you'll discover the amazing generosity of this universe. Quiet retreat. I'm going to cut. And organize for success. Don't let the word organize intimidate you, as it is simply a way for you to ensure clarity of purpose. Organizing your thoughts, your reports, so we can write them down again. Your living and workspace and your findings will help you to know and plan your next action steps. Okay, I've gone ahead and placed some of these abundance cards in strategic locations here atop the 8 of earth. Here atop the 4 of water and the hermit, and here atop the 3 of swords, and what was the bottom card? The tower. How could I forget that? Before I do that, while this is staring me in the face, so somebody's son also may be graduating. Somebody's child may be graduating. Right? There's like judgment. Teachers or professors aren't judges. School isn't necessarily a judge, but then again, they are the officiate that gives you this piece of paper that says that you completed. That could be this, standing before the officiate, which is the hermit here. The hermit can definitely be a teacher, a professor of some sort. This is your child's time to shine, right? They are in the spotlight. They are graduating. They are getting married, perhaps. That's a victory. These are victories too. Definitely somebody's son could be graduating or getting married. Now, well, this reading goes into May 5th. I don't know. It feels like it might be a little bit early, well, at least in New York, a little bit early for graduation, but that's coming through very, very strong. And so I had to stop what I was about to do to talk about that first. Also, underneath this sun is the 6 of Earth and the 8 of Earth, both of which can be about school. The 6 of Earth can be specifically about that money for school, your financial aid or some sort of scholarship or grant or something. So that could be the sun shining on you. It could be somebody graduating from high school. You're about to go to college. You've been accepted to somewhere really awesome. It brings emotional happiness to not only the child, but to the parent also. I keep focusing more on the mother, but I mean, of course, it could be a father as well. And that child maybe got some sort of scholarship or something. They were victorious. Maybe they play a sport or won some other scholarship, or they're getting the financial aid they didn't expect to be able to get to school. They're getting a loan, whatever it is that they didn't expect to be able to go to school, and they are. They are. And of course, that makes everyone very emotionally happy. Over here, we have the masculine with the 8 of water underneath this card, wanting to move on, a desire to move on, a search for something more meaningful. I want to graduate from here and go on to the next phase of my life or education or both. So I had to get that out. In addition to that, I just want to quickly recap. I had some... I must have jinxed myself with the Mercury thing. I had something go crazy. So there's definitely going to be some edits in this video this week. With the Mercury retrograde, I said for maybe Geminis and Virgos more so than anybody else, or people with a lot of Mercury in their chart, we may still continue to experience it until Mercury actually leaves its retrograde zone. That doesn't happen until May 3rd. So I may have jinxed myself. But in any case... particularly impactful or impacted this week, very much so, can be a Libra, Aquarius, Gemini, Scorpio. I have the Tower here, which often represents Scorpio for me, and Judgment, which also represents Scorpio. Here. Sagittarius. Now, the sun, I mean, it can be for any, and all of these can be for any, of any of the others of the element or any zodiac period. But in the tarot, the sun represents the sign of Sagittarius. But Earth's star, the sun, rules Leo. So those two tend to come through strongest for me when the sun is here. Also, some truth can come out because of the sun. The Ace of Air and Justice very much can be about truth. The truth will set you free. This could be the masculine trying to free his mind, especially with the king also sitting atop these two. The king says, speak your mind with confidence, right? And seek out professional advice if you need to. If you need to go and confess your sins in front of somebody, whether it's a judge or a minister, a pastor, a priest, your mama, your woman, your man, whoever, that can come into play. And Ace of Air, very much about truth, right? Seeing the truth in a situation can also be the one, you're the one relaying it. And isn't that always the right thing to do, to speak the truth? When you, in fact, when you're in a system of when you're in a matter, involved in a matter of the justice system, when you're in court, they say, do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth? Crossing or sitting next to the sun, which brings things to light, definitely be coming something, definitely bring out the truth, shine light on what was done in the dark. There could be a masculine here with a child that the woman doesn't know about, maybe specifically a son. I'm saying woman, it's not gender specific. The feminine could easily be a male too. There could be a child Or vice versa. There could be a child the feminine has that the masculine doesn't know about, or he doesn't know that the feminine's child is his. That can be the information that comes up that causes hurt. Three of Swords atop the tower shakes up everybody's life. You know, when something is illuminated, again, maybe specifically about a son. We do have, again, the 3 here, a third energy, not just the 3, but the 3 of Swords, pain, hurt, loss. It's sitting next to another 3, another third energy, which is underneath the 6 of Water. 6 of Water can easily be about children. Issues regarding children is right here, even written on the card. But that's definitely one of the meanings in the tarot. This can be the masculine. We have that 8 of Water, and I'll pick it up after I reveal what this card is. After we all learn what it is, I'll point it out again. I'll try to remember. But on that card, the being is walking that way. It could be walking away from this 2 of Summer. That could be what cause hurt too. And that, again, it could be a sudden breakup. I think I mentioned something could be sudden, or maybe yeah, the sudden end to whatever kind of relationship it was, friendship. Maybe it comes out that the child is not. You know, a masculine thought a child was his, and something comes up in court, right? We had an officiate here too. We had the Hermit. It's not his. That causes major pain. He wants to leave. He's out of here. Sudden breakup. You know, DNA test. It was DNA day yesterday. So maybe that's from where that's coming. I didn't mean to start going over cards again. Okay. Let me get back on track. So you know what? Let's see what's under here. Why don't we do that? Oh, wow. Look at this. Obstacles and blocks are lifted. All your good personal work. Remember the work sitting under here, the 8 of Earth? That work and positive energy, the sun, have caused a shift that have helped you to overcome previous obstacles and blocks. They are all lifted away. You will now experience progress and forward movement. Remember, I said I was going to point it out about the movement. I didn't know the cards would help me. Movement. Forward is this way for him, for this guy. Somebody could be walking out of jail too. Or end of legal woes. You will now experience progress and forward movement with your projects. Stay centered in gratitude to ensure that your flow of abundance continues. So we definitely want to, count our blessings and be thankful. Feminine. I think we got this last week too. I don't know top what or in connection to what, but I remember this feels familiar. Clean energy food. When you fuel your body with healthful organic diet, you increase your energy levels and ability to focus. This automatically leads to more efficiency, better ideas, and a higher vibration, which attracts golden opportunities and beneficial relationships. And I always suggest that people eat as clean, whole, and or organic as possible. And I am a plant-based eater. I'm not one of those people that goes around like vegan and trying to push it on everybody else, because I don't feel it's the end-all be-all. And I definitely am one of those, and maybe the only one, because I don't really hear too many people talking like me. But to me, it's processed food. It's Monsanto. It's cloning. It's GMOs. It is high fructose corn syrup. It is these things that are far more deadly than any whole organic anything, including meat, could ever be. I actually shared today on my Facebook a pesticide, information about a pesticide that had been testing. I had read this article years ago. Come to find out, it's from like 2010. UC Berkeley did this study that when they put in the pesticide, it turned male frogs female and vice versa. And this is what's in our food, even plants. You get where I'm going with the pesticide? This is on our plants. especially when they're not organic. Now, even when something is marked certified organic, I feel like we're still taking a chance, but at least you're trying. When a food is whole and or organic, by virtue, it is healthier and better for you than anything that's not. By definition of what the words whole and organic mean, particularly organic. So that's my spiel on that. But the feminine is guided this week. And maybe that will help us to not miss anything. Maybe that will help us to receive all the enlightenment, spiritual guidance by working on increasing our vibration. Right? We got to do the work. We got to do our part. Spirit will come through with the intuitive messages, with the signs, with the enlightenment, but we have to be able to receive it. Our vibration has to be high enough that it's receptive. So we may want to focus on that this week so that we can see, right? This says, missing an opportunity, discontentment or boredom. Open your eyes to the possibilities. It doesn't say which eyes. Maybe all three, right? The two that you see on this plane with, and the other that you can see other dimensions with. But you'd have to work on increasing your vibration in order to do that. And for the two of us, here atop our root energies of the Three of Air, or Swords, Three of Swords, and the Tower. Release resentments about money. And right away, child support popped in my head. Yes, the money system of the world can seem upsetting, but holding resentments about finances just pushes your abundance away. Instead, see money as a tool that you can use to better the world, and this shift will help you attract support and golden opportunities. So yeah, like I said, it just went right. As soon as I read that, the child support thing came again, finding out this not your child. You've been paying child support. Now that causes resentment. You can't wait to get the hell away from these folks and go that way. Can't wait to go that way, the masculine. So that may be someone's situation as well. On a more happy note, in terms of promotion and increase in abundance, again, the Sun, Ace of Air, victory, illumination, enlightenment with the Hermit, judgment, which is, again, for me, very similar to the Three of Earth, all about raise, promotion, ascension, elevation, receiving accolades, praise, your due, justice, speaking of your due, sitting here. And yes, we have a Three of Spring here. Yes, it can have something to do with the party of three, but judgment is a very karmic energy, as in of the universe. And we have it sitting over this Six of Water. This Six of Water could definitely be, again, soulmate relationship. And the third energy could be spirit. Could be the Sun, the S-O-N. Could be the Father, right? The Scorpion King, Pluto, Scorpio, with judgment. There we have that. So further to that, advice for the masculine. Do the work. Remember the work that's sitting here under the Sun with the 8 and 6 of Earth? It's not enough to dream or pray. You've also got to take the positive action steps that you are being divinely guided to take. Consistently working on your priorities will make them flourish like a lush flower garden. Feminine. Visualize abundance in all forms. God gave you such great spiritual power that everything you visualize eventually becomes reality. Hold a steady vision of that which is beautiful, healthful, positive, and filled with blessings, and that is what you will experience. Masculine, the king of spring, who is inspiring, dramatic, ambitious, and wise. He is also a Sagittarius, Leo, Aries, or maybe even a Scorpio, co-ruled along with Aries by Mars, the red planet. Now's your moment to step up to a leadership role. Don't back away from the spotlight, as your plans will be successful as long as you stay focused upon the big picture. So again, if you do the work, the result is the sun, right? Happy outcome. Feminine, the 10 of winter. It's the end of a career path, project, or relationship. And that brings feelings that are mixed of joy and sadness, relief and disappointment. And isn't that what's described by the 3 of Swords with the sun on top of it? It's like, okay, glad this is over, but I'm a little sad. It's going to be a change, a difference. Put aside your fears about the changes, though, and trust that a brighter future awaits. There's your brighter future. It's the sun. Masculine. Plans that need revision. The 7 of air. More going on than meets the eye, and poor timing. This can be about lack of confidence, which you shouldn't have because you are the king of spring here. Lack of confidence, self-esteem. This can be about physical, actual theft. Somebody trying to take something from you. And again, maybe somebody's been taking your money from you in the form of child support or anything else, and they didn't deserve it. It wasn't warranted. That's extremely hurtful. To find out that somebody you care about was, has been betraying you in that kind of way where they would take something from you. That could be the case. So watch it, because there's a lot of stronger, more empowering energy surrounding you than this 7 of air. We can trump this 7 of air very easily. Just be aware of it. And finally, yep, it may be us that causes the masculine's 7 of air, because these are the 3 cards. They come together. The 3 of air, the 5 of air, the 7 of air, and maybe in descending order or whatever, random order. But when I see them together, it's like something went down, and we know that because the Tower is here too. With the feminine having both the 5 and the 10. These are both energies. 5s and 10s are about like the need to clear out energy. There's a clearing and a change is coming, no matter what. An unwise choice. Learn what you can from this situation. Review everyone's motives. So the 5 of air for me, unlike the 5 of fire, tends to not only be a conflict, but a conflict in which we had a hand. It may have been inadvertent. We may not have meant to hurt anybody. There was no malice intent. But some action of ours is what resulted, or non-action, is what resulted in sort of like a series of events. And sometimes they can have to do with other people getting you involved in something. That's why it's recommended that we review everyone's motives who may be involved. There could be friends whispering, lying behind your back. That could be the people who are trying to take something from the masculine. Maybe they're trying to take his woman away, not by necessarily a new guy stepping in to date her. And again, I'm saying woman, but it could be, it's not gender specific. Maybe not try to take her away physically, like I stole your man, I stole your woman, but I'm going to ruin their relationship. I'm going to ruin that 2 of summer because I don't have that and I'm jealous. So I'm going to, create a scenario, make some stuff look shady, whisper in one or the other's ear or both, go back and forth between them and until it's destroyed. I'm going to steal it. And I'm going to make it look like it's it's her fault. So be aware that these people might be around, because when you got all this going on for yourself, people are jealous and misery loves company. I hope that you guys enjoy this week's weekly general reading. I will be back with love. I will be back with a Scorpio full moon reading. I'll be back with some personals, and I guess that's it. See you soon. Namaste, angels.